the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrich with Weather Weeklies.
Good Sunday morning, too. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich, and this is another edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, September 27th. Now, we talked about the long range here in the last video here. We're going to really concentrate on that through the month of October here in this video here. Again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here because we're ahead of ourselves. I know everybody's excited about winter and what the winter's going to look like. We have a winter outlook coming out publicly on the 13th of November. But we're going to be looking at some things up until that point here, some key key points, and just take it one thing at a time here. We have the month of October and November to look forward to first, and we actually now have our long range indicating both here on here. You see the month of October now we have below average. We've had below average here for quite some time. Actually, it's dating back to our winter, going back to our autumn outlook. Here's our autumn outlook for the month of October. This, of course, was done back in August, and we had the temperatures generally anywhere from 1 to 3 degrees below normal across our coverage area, favoring the southern areas more so than the north. But even still up here, you're only a degree different here. -1 to -2, -2 to -3 down here. And we do think that's going to end up happening still. And now we're talking about the end. We're here at the end of September now. We're over a month later from the point where we did this, and there's really no reason to change this at all. So we're going to go into this period in October here. It's actually going to start earlier than we thought. We were actually thinking about earlier. We were talking about maybe the 3rd or 4th having this pattern change. Now it looks like obviously it looks like it's coming in a lot earlier. So we're going to come in here right from the get-go, from October 1st onward. We are sitting below average temperatures, and again in that 1 to 3 degrees below normal average for the entire month. If you take the entire month as a whole, not saying every single day is going to be 1 to 3 degrees below normal. People confuse this a lot of times. If you take the average for the entire month, and we're saying that entire composite average is going to be below normal. So looking at this couple systems here this week, one is the one going to our south now that we argued all week that would stay to our south. That's this one right here. Now we have this big dome of high pressure. This is what's getting control of our weather actually today, keeping everything down here. So it could not come in because of this dry air working in here. We have another opportunity for another cutoff low at the end of the week next week. Actually, this coming up week, I should say. The only problem is your high pressure, instead of being blocking down here like it was on the previous graphic, is now up here. Still strong, and that's great, so that's going to protect New England. But this cutoff low is going to be, instead of situated over the Carolinas, it's going to be further north, and in the Friday-Saturday time frame, we could get some much needed rainfall. So we're definitely looking forward to that, both the European model and the GFS. This is actually GFS depiction of that, so I can't show you the European model for copyright restrictions, but it's pretty much the same idea where here you get a pretty heavy dose of rain here across the eastern half of our coverage area at the very least. So we're going to follow this week and see what happens. Right now, high pressure looks like it's not an ideal position to keep this thing south like it did for this one. One thing we're going to be looking for with that celestial event, we have the lunar eclipse tonight. It's going to be a very close call to see if you get this, if you actually do get to see the lunar eclipse. We're expecting clouds to start to increase a little bit. It might be mostly cloudy, but you might just have enough of a clearing to see it. So for those of you, I know we said the other day it didn't look good, but with this high pressure hanging around, you might have an opportunity going forward. Into the long range now, we're going to look at again, precipitation we're expecting to be below average for the period, but we do have that coastal low with the end of next week that can really turn things around in a hurry, especially if it sits there and lingers for a while. Right now we've been below normal, and I don't think that what I'm going to tell you, I know that this is one of my favorite times of the year as far as the fall foliage is concerned. We've already seen some trees already start losing their leaves and turning brown, and that's because of the lack of precipitation. They should not be doing that yet. So when we do have we reach the fall foliage period, I think it's going to be a very short window. So normally you have that last over a couple of weeks, and you get to go out and look at all the beautiful colors and leaves changing color. I think that that time frame that when it does start changing colors and the leaves start to fall, that period is going to be shortened a little bit. So that's a little bit unfortunate, because I like to go out and I'm one of those nature lovers too. I love going out and seeing all the different colors of the fall. One of my favorite times of fall, in addition to the crisp mornings, which are so much nicer, those hot and humid mornings going out in the morning. So it is getting cooler, folks, but I think unfortunately the fall foliage period will not be as extravagant as normal that we're normally expecting. Here is going into October here now. Big trough sitting over the east here. So we got colder temperatures here. That's in these blues and greens. This is an anomaly. This is temperatures below normal. Also have a colder pull up here, and in the middle where you got the warmth. So this is what we expected for most of the month here. Now you're going to have some transition periods in here. For the majority of the period, you look at the next 10 days, it's pretty much this. It's colder than normal in this area, and some of this will shift east a little bit and be more centered over just our area here. And I think that happens. And a large part, you look at the ensembles here, what they're doing is they're really pumping out a ridge. The ensembles are pumping out a ridge out west, and that leads to a trough in the east. That kind of just sits there. This amplification pattern that we're going into is really the driver of what's going to keep this cold air locked here for the month of October. We do think, though, however, that it does go above normal once we get to November. And we're going to revisit that as we get closer to that. November is one of those toss-up months. It can kind of go either way. As a matter of fact, we're actually more confident that the month of December, is going to be mild than we are confident that November is going to be mild. I know that doesn't make any sense, but if you look at some of just the way the things line up, all the little pieces that we look at line up, it actually makes more sense for December to be above normal. And so does November. November looks like above normal also, but we can see how that cold from October might linger into the beginning of November and give you that give you a couple days, give you like a week or so below normal. It might be hard to overcome that. So we'll take a look at that when we get in the second half of October and see how that transpires. Now, another thing that affects the long-range temperatures, of course, are recurving typhoons. And this is the part of the European model I can show you. This is the free one here, and this is looking at the Pacific Ocean here. Here's up here. This is Alaska right here. This is the western coast of North America here. The United States is right here. Okay, this is all Eastern Asia. You got the Philippines here. Here's North and South Korea. Here's Japan. Okay, so now this is showing in the long range we're going to have more typhoons to deal with, and if any one of these recurve, now these are showing it to be pretty strong here. If any one of these recurve, which means shoots up here like this, it misses Japan to the east, and it shoots up here like this. This actually helps build heights and actually buckles a jet stream. Okay, and then it promotes a ridge out here in the west part of the United States, up into the Aleutian, by the Aleutian Islands, and then that will continue to give us a trough in the east. So if you're looking at reinforcing shots, this is one other reason why October could be even well below normal in some cases, just because if you have that ridge pumping up near the Aleutian Islands, you're going to have a ridge here, trough here, and you have your colder air coming in with a trough here in the eastern United States while the west is warm, and I think that's going to continue, and you have plenty of opportunity with more typhoons showing up here in the west. This is a very active pattern here in the western Pacific, so we'll keep an eye on that too. There's other factors that go into this, but that's just one of the things we're looking at. Also, the SOI values. Yes, that's a Southern Oscillation Index, and the values of that have been continually dropping into the well negative territory. So, that also promotes a trough in the eastern United States too. So there's a lot of different things we go into it. We don't just look at analogs. When we're doing long range as far as seasonal, we'll rely on analogs a lot more. When we're doing the long range outlooks every Friday, because we're doing these updates every Friday now. These updates have the long-range updates. We do a free public one every Friday. But when we're doing this, we're not using the analogs anymore. Analogs are off the table. We use the analogs, in the seasonal, and we'll say, oh, well, this is all matching up to look like this year and this year. So when we did this and put our composite average for the month of October. Well, how's October going to go? Well, this year looked a lot like 1987, 1957. Okay, well that means, and if you average those 2 years together, it was below normal in October. That was our starting point, and from that we look at observations, long-range ensembles, typhoons, SOI, things like that. There's a lot of things that go into it to come up with our long-range outlooks. These are updated once a week, but they do not use the analogs anymore, just for support. Okay, so I just want to make that part of it clear of what we do. Now, this long range we're updating every single week publicly for free. All right, we do update this every single day, daily, Monday through Friday, and give you the latest updates in our long range discussion of our My Pocket Meteorologist weather forum. You can check that out below the video here. It'll give you an option to choose at least look at the My Pocket Meteorologist program. And you can either choose the form as a standalone product or at a discount if you already have an existing product, or you get an existing product like the My Pocket Meteorologist text alerts or the daily forecast service that we have through text also. So, that's also, it'll be a cheaper rate for that. But if you wanted something done every single day to be updated, that's done on the forum. So we have to be careful with how much free stuff we give out on Vi. I know it doesn't make it, everybody wants everything for free. I get that. And this is one of our free products as well. But we're limited at what we can talk about, limited at what detail we go into. So we're going into sea surface temperatures. These are the current sea surface temperatures. Greatest warming right now occurring in Nino 3. We did have a little spike up here in Nino 1 and 2. This was just looks like it was just a temporary thing, but our greatest warming continues to be right here in this area here. We would like to see this ideally kind of go in more into Nino 3.4 and have the greatest warming there for as we head into winter. But we're only at the end of September right now, so we got a lot of time to look at this, and watch this progress to this area here. There's a lot of time to do that. We just don't want to see the greatest warming over here, because that means usually a 1997 like winter, and we really don't want that unless you don't want the snow. But the cold and snow really favors that time frame. Will favor it more if you don't have the greatest warming in Nino 1 and 2. And here is the latest CFS-V2 forecast for Nino. Again, still going toward the end of October here for the peak of El Nino, somewhere near Super Nino territory, and then declining after that point. So, it peaks then and drops, and then all the other models that pretty much have the same idea here. Getting close to Nino, here's the mean here. It gets close to the Super Nino territory, and then we'll drop off as well. So as we get into the winter months, I think it drops off. It's probably still a strong or moderately strong Nino in winter. Maybe ends moderate if it drops fast enough. We shall see. But right now, it does favor a second half of the winter as far as being the better half. If you want cold and snow, it looks like the second half will be more exciting than the first half will be, because we do expect December to start off mild. And one of the things we're going to be looking at over the next several weeks in October is the progression of snow cover. Here is the projection through the 6th of October. Not much snow up here in Canada right now, but what we want to see is an increase in that, and also progressing southeastward like this. So you have a buildup of snow over Canada. Right now we're not seeing that, but it's still too early to look at this yet. This is probably our starting point, but we want to see that increase if you want to promote the colder Arctic oscillation values coming in during the winter. We'll re-examine this every single week during the month of October, and I want to key in this a little bit more, but right now we're just going to focus on the short term. Again, we have this cutoff low in the upcoming week here. We have a lot cooler temperatures. Temperatures are going to be stuck in the 60s, maybe even 50s in some cases, especially if we have some kind of storm sitting over here. As far as forecast highs, we're going to definitely be cooler as we hit in October here. We'll re-examine this one here this week, this cutoff low that looks like it might affect us this time versus the Carolinas with this high pressure further north. Still a long ways to go yet, though, to jump to conclusions with that one. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Marchich, and that is this edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, September 27th. Join us again next week in October. We're going to examine how we're doing so far and progressing with the month of October as far as temperatures and precipitation. Of course, this storm here, there will maybe a recap from that at that point, and then we're going to go a little bit more into what we're seeing going forward through October and November, and we'll see you then.